go.
Isn't this a perfect visual to summarize the duality of Trump's secret police force? On one hand, we know the danger these agents pose and the violence that comes along with their presence whenever they're in the vicinity. But on the other, well, they're amateur, clumsy, pathetic losers desperate to find their own purpose and happiness in inflicting pain on others. Another group of people who take pride in bringing pain to others.
Let's go, ICE! Let's go, ICE! God bless Trump! 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 Yeah, ride your bike, you
Just to set the scene for you, these Trumpers, perhaps in town for the Giants versus Broncos NFL game, descended on Denver's No Kings to cheer on ICE and spew homophobic slurs, which is when things really kicked off.
Yeah, ride your bike, you go get a job. Yeah.
We've got to be clear about something here. We're certainly not advocating for stealing or physically harming Trump supporters and counter-protesters, but that does not justify his use of slurs or him and his group goading protesters into a response. What stands out is that some people in that crowd actually tried to de-escalate the situation before things got uglier, and the video cut it out. It matters that their first instinct wasn't to match hate with hate, it was to protect the protest itself. It's important to note that while Trump's authoritarianism and the wholesale breakdown of whatever crumbs of democracy we have left were the central focus of the No Kings protest, you cannot properly protest the administration without also protesting ICE and other federal law enforcement agencies. All of our rights, citizens or not, are under attack with this administration in power.
He exited his car and tried to tell the officers he was going to work legally as a citizen. Agents then surrounded his car, banging on his windows. George, he tried to back away from the agents, but was pepper sprayed. His car engulfed. He says when he then was pinned down by two officers and then arrested, George was held for 3 days at the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles. No charges were filed. He had no access to an attorney, and he missed his 3-year-old daughter's birthday.
Redis says he clearly identified himself as a citizen, but federal agents ignored him. They smashed the window of his car and dragged him out at gunpoint. The U.S. veteran then spent 3 days in detention without ever being charged with a crime. He was denied a phone call, legal representation, and medical care, despite being pepper sprayed and tear gassed during the raid. His family had no idea where he was or how to contact him.
They eventually break my driver's side window. Immediately after breaking my window, another agent sticks his arm through and sprays me with OC in the face. And they continue to drag me out of the car, throw me to the ground. Takes multiple officers to detain me for some reason, even though I have OC on my face and I can't breathe. My hands are already behind my back. I have an agent kneeling on my back and another agent kneeling on my neck. All while I'm telling them I can't breathe because of the OC in my face and the tear gas in my lungs. They didn't care to listen, and they still abused their power.
You presented identifications showing that you were a U.S. citizen. They didn't bat an eye at that?
They didn't even allow me to show identification. They asked for my social security number. They asked, that's the only thing they asked for is like my social on a piece of paper and what I filled out.
So you were trying to identify yourself multiple times here, your name, where you were born, your social security number, to no avail?
No one cared that I was a citizen.
They booked us and everything. They threw us into a cell. They didn't care to check on any medical, like issues wrong with us. They didn't care about what happened to us or anything or why we're even there. They just put us in a cell without anything, phone call, attorney, speaking to anyone. They just threw us in a cell.
There's all these parts of process that happen if you get arrested for something that are required by the Constitution and by subsequent judicial opinions. You just sat in a cell for 3 days?
Yes, I sat in a cell for 3 days.
Could you call somebody? Could you talk to anyone?
No, they didn't let me call anyone. They didn't let me talk to a lawyer. They didn't even let me shower when I was covered in tear gas and CO spray and my body was burning. Knowing that I would miss my daughter's birthday, that was the biggest one for me. It's hard, if I'm being honest. Just knowing that I will never get that chance to know that I wasn't there. Wasn't even able to get her a gift. So it's a terrible feeling. I missed a lot. I missed a lot when they locked me up, and there was just a lot to deal with and a lot that happened. I just can't wrap my head around it.
He was detained pursuant to arrest. That's no explanation for his 3-day, 3-night detention, much less without a phone call, without a hearing before a judge, without access to an attorney, without a shower, with pepper spray all over his body. These are basic violations of Georgia's federal constitutional rights and his rights under California law.
It's important to hold everyone accountable, to make sure that no one is above the law.
79-year-old LA car wash owner Rafi Ola Shahid, the man in the red shirt, as you will see, was violently thrown to the ground yet again by ICE agents while they snatched up one of his workers. Shahid, a U.S. citizen, then said this during a press conference with his lawyers.
I was begging him. I have a heart condition. 3 big people were sitting on my back, the way they tore me down, sitting on me, and I asked them to let me go, which they absolutely would not pay no attention. And they took me to detention center.
Shahid was held in an ICE detention center for nearly 12 hours before he was eventually released. And now, he's suing the federal government to the tune of $50 million, claiming his civil rights were violated by ICE agents, and is seeking damages for suffering multiple broken ribs and showing symptoms now of a traumatic brain injury, among other injuries. Federal government maintains Shahid was justifiably arrested for impeding the operation and assaulting an officer. These were just 2 high-profile, nationally recognized instances of U.S. citizens getting caught up in the terror campaign Trump, Stephen Miller, and the rest of the administration have unleashed on the country. But this new report from ProPublica, it paints a more accurate picture of the reality on the ground. ProPublica reporting, it lays out just how deep this goes. They compiled and revealed every case they could find of agents holding citizens against their will, immigration raids, protests. The stories are chilling. Mass agents pointed a gun, pepper sprayed, punched a young man simply for filming them, searching for a relative. It's overreach. It's a pattern. It's deliberate. It reflects how law enforcement in Trump's America systemically devalues the existence of Black and brown Americans, citizens or not. These are the conditions Trump has created: an infrastructure, fear, violence, impunity. If we don't call it out for what it is, it will only grow darker.